Folks, I just want to do a quick video talk about the plane crash that happened in Washington, D.C. First of all, I'm really familiar with Reagan National Airport. I've flown in and out of there so many times. I used to live in the Northern Virginia area for many years. I'm actually from there. I was conceived there. Aside from that, first of all, it's just such a freaking tragedy about all these people that just died. Over 60 plus people inside that plane that just died in that plane crash. And to think it was just like it was final descent for these people, and so many, and they were just like, they were landing. It was American Airlines. They were landing at Reagan National Airport, and they were landing. I think about they were landing at Reagan National Airport. I was reading that many of them were texting their loved ones saying, we're landing, and then this disaster happens. We have to just think about this for a second. Like, first of all, the only question, there's a couple of questions I want to ask here, and I have a limited time because I have a limited recording time. But a couple of questions I want to ask here is, like, what the hell is a military helicopter doing in airspace reserved for flights that are landing at a commercial airport? Like, literally, why the hell would such a thing happen? Like, it's obvious that helicopter was not supposed to be there, and it was there, and that is airspace reserved for commercial flights. So, I mean, we can pretend it's like the ignorance of the person flying the helicopter. We can say it's like the ignorance of the people flying the military helicopter or whatever. But it is, it just doesn't make sense. Because if you look at the video of the crash, it looked like the helicopter was headed right toward that aircraft. So we have to just speculate, and then there's very rare times I agree with Dan Bongino. I'm not gonna lie. There's rare times I agree with him, but I watched a video that Dan Bongino posted about this, and he made a point, and I'm gonna be very, very honest with you. It is fair to raise the question. I'm not saying this is the case, but it is very fair to raise the question, was this crash intentional? And it's very honest and fair to raise that question. And I have, in my opinion, we look at that military helicopter headed right toward that aircraft that was descending, all those poor people as they thought they were landing at Reagan, and texting their loved ones and everything. Boom. It was headed right toward it. It looked like it was on a straight path toward that aircraft. And it was very, very, very sad to watch. So Dan Bongino, a rare time I'll agree with him, he is correct. It is very fair to raise the question, could this have been intentional? I'm not saying it was, but could it have been? But either way, it's such a tragedy. I think about all the aircraft I've been on, so many, more than I can count. I've been on all the flights I've been on, all the times I've been landing at airports, all over the country, around the world too. All the times I've been taking off, and I just know about, I've watched so many documentaries on plane crashes in my life, and a plane crash, even though they're so rare, far rarer than car crashes or train derailments or etc. When a plane crash happens, it's an 100% death rate. Like, everybody in the plane dies. You're in a metal tube flying through the sky, and if the plane crashes or falls out of the sky for some reason or whatever, collides with another aircraft or whatever, 100% death rate, nobody survives. And that's what happened here. And that's what's happened at many plane crashes that have happened throughout history. So, very, very unfortunate tragedy. And I just think about all the flights I've been on, all the times I've been landing at airports, taking off from airports, just realizing that anything can happen, and realize that once you're on an airplane, even though airplanes are 99.9% of the time very safe to fly, you know that your life, every time you get on an airplane, is so fragile. It's so fragile all the time, to be fair. But when you're in a metal tube flying through the sky, then your life is really fragile, because if anything happens, if anything could happen, boom, you're gonna die. That's just what it is. Anything happens, colliding with an aircraft or whatever, something wrong with the plane, anything happens that will cause that plane to crash, you are going to die. And your life is in a very fragile state when you're on an airplane. So basically, and yeah, the pilots know that. That's why they take a lot of extra precautions, because they know very well that so many lives are in their hands. And I was talking to a pilot actually in Philadelphia not too long ago, Philadelphia International Airport in Pennsylvania, and I was having this discussion with him, like, and we were having a good conversation, and I was like, every time you fly an aircraft, all these lives are in your hands. He happened to be an American Airlines regional air pilot, by the way, same one that crashed, yeah, he knows that. Like, every pilot knows that great responsibility they have when they're carrying passengers around. All these lives are in their hands, and it's a powerful thing. But there's also forces outside of the aircraft, outside the pilot's control, that can cause a disaster such as this to happen. I also want to emphasize, I'm going to wrap this video up real quick, that about a week ago, and this is just the truth, I'm not politicizing this, but I'm just going to be stating the truth that people don't want to hear, but I'm always very real with you guys. It is the truth that about a week ago, a week or something ago, Donald Trump completely cut several FAA safety programs. I'll have to put some more details about that, but it is what happened, and this happened about a week ago right before this crash happened. I'm not saying that was the result of it, but I'm just stating that. There were several FAA safety programs and stuff that Trump just decided to cut. Anyway, leaving all this with you guys, leaving all this with you guys, very sad tragedy. I want you just to think about this when you're on an airplane, when you're landing at an airport, when you're taking off, wherever, how fragile your life really is. I'm not trying to say this to get people to be afraid of flying. I'll never be afraid of flying. If I die in an aircraft, I die in an aircraft. It is what it is. But I'm just saying the obvious fact that your life is freaking fragile when you're on an aircraft. And your life is in the pilot's hands, but it's also in the hands of forces outside the aircraft. And it's just rest in peace to all those poor people that died. God bless them. God bless their families in the name of Jesus Christ. And very sad tragedy. But thank you guys for watching. Take care. Javier Buck 208 tuning out.